business news analysis coming to you live on Politics and Business TV Abuja. Good afternoon and many thanks for joining us on the program for today. I'm Fatima Abubakar Oibo for the headlines. Presidential pardon list faces scrutiny amid public backlash. NEMA partner to embed HIV services in emergency response. Saudi Arabia cuts Nigeria's Hajj slot to 67,000. And on the foreign scene, Army Colonel Randian Rina to be sworn in as Madagascar's president. Details of the stories and more to come shortly after the break. Just stay with us. Welcome back. Now the news in full. In a development story from the presidency, sources close to Asarok indicate that President Bola Tinubu may reconsider the inclusion of several controversial names on the proposed national pardon list. The move comes amid mounting public pressure and criticism from civil society groups who argue that granting clemency to individuals with questionable records could undermine the administration's commitment to justice and accountability. While the final list has yet to be released, insiders suggest that a review is underway to ensure that only deserving cases are considered. The presidency has remained tight-lipped on the specifics, but analysts believe the decision reflects a growing awareness of public sentiment and the political risk associated with perceived leniency. The pardon list, traditionally unveiled during Democracy Day celebrations, is expected to spark intense debate across party lines. As Nigerians await further clarification, the spotlight remains on President Tinubu's next move, one that could shape the narrative around his administration's stance on transparency and rule of law. Meanwhile, the Agency for the Control of AIDS, NACA, and the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, have pledged to integrate HIV services into Nigeria's emergency response framework. This collaboration aims to ensure that people living with HIV continue to receive essential care and treatment during disasters, conflict, and other humanitarian emergencies. By embedding HIV support into disaster protocols, both agencies hope to protect vulnerable populations from treatment disruptions and improve health outcomes during crisis. The initiative reflects a broader commitment to inclusive public health planning and marks a significant step towards building a more resilient and responsive healthcare system in Nigeria. In another development, Saudi Arabia has reduced Nigeria's Hajj allocation from 95,000 to 66,910 slots for the 2026 pilgrimage. The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NAHCON, confirmed the cut, citing Nigeria's underutilization of its previous quota during the 2024 and 2025 Hajj exercises. The revised figure will affect seat distribution across states now based on the number of pilgrims each state successfully ferried in 2025. NAHCON disclosed the change during a recent meeting with state officials focused on Hajj costing and logistics planning. Let's watch news analysis right here on Politics and Business Television Abuja. Still to come, marketers confirm 600 million litre petrol target from Dangote Refinery. Details of this headline and more news content after a quick break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now, on to business matters. Independent petroleum marketers have confirmed that the Dangote Petroleum Refinery has set a monthly target to release up to 600 million liters of petrol. This move is part of efforts to stabilize domestic fuel supply and ease the recent surge in pump prices. The refinery's output is expected to significantly reduce Nigeria's reliance on imported fuel, with major marketers already lifting consignment under existing agreement. Industry stakeholders view the development as a major boost to energy security and market competitiveness. And on the foreign scene, in a swift turn of events, Madagascar is set to swear in Colonel Michael Randrianirina as its new president following a military takeover that ousted President Andry Rajoelina. The High Constitutional Court is expected to formalize Randrianirina's appointment just days after Rajoelina was impeached for desertion of duty and fled the country. The colonel, commander of an elite army unit, has denied initiating a coup, citing the court's backing of his new role. His rise comes amid weeks of youth-led protest and international concern over the island's nation's democratic stability. Foreign delegations, including representatives from the US, EU, and France, were present at the swearing-in ceremony. And now for sport news, let's join Abel Sunday.
Good day, I'm Able Sunday. Let's dive into your latest P&B Sport update. Big news for Nigerian football fans: the Super Eagles' chances of reaching the 2026 FIFA World Cup have just received a major boost. Nigeria is now the highest ranked team heading to the Intercontinental Playoff, sitting 45th on the FIFA ranking. This means they will only need to win one playoff match to qualify for the World Cup finals. Before then, Nigeria must stop a mini tournament in Morocco from November 13th to 16th, featuring Cameroon, DR Congo, and Gabon. A strong run there could set the stage for their long-awaited return to football's biggest stage. That's all for sports. For P&B Sport News Update, I'm Abel Sunday.
Welcome back. Now on to the focus of the day. In Nigeria, the story of abandoned project is one that never seems to go away, a recurring nightmare that drains public funds, wastes resources, and erases the footprints of development left by past administrations. Former President Goodluck Jonathan has added his voice once again to this troubling issue. Speaking recently, he lamented that many of his legacy projects in Bayelsa State, especially those aimed at boosting tourism and hospitality, were dumped after he left office. He described the situation as a monumental waste of public funds, warning that Nigeria cannot progress when successive governments refuse to continue projects initiated by their predecessors. Jonathan's remarks highlight a disturbing trend in Nigeria's development trajectory, where projects worth billions of naira are abandoned, uncompleted, or outright neglected once political transitions occur. This has raised fundamental questions about continuity, governance, ethics, and accountability in the public sector. Joining us to analyze this disturbing culture of policy discontinuity, and its effects on Nigeria's socio-economic growth is Comrade Bitako Abubakar Umar, spokesperson for the Rebuild Ariwa Initiative for Development (RAID), educationist, public affairs analyst, and politician. He joins us via a WhatsApp call. Comrade Bitako, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Okay, so Comrade Bitako, Jonathan's statement speaks to a larger national problem, abandoned projects across states and ministries. Why do you think this culture persists despite repeated warnings from experts and former leaders?
It is very, very unfortunate that it has become a culture, a bad behavior in Nigerian governance cycle where you see projects are being abandoned. This happens in the states, in our various states, in the federation, and as well as even the federal government projects. What Mr. President said is true and is real and is a prevailing circumstance, not only a prevailing circumstance, but it is highly disturbing circumstance. Why do I say so? Or why is he, Mr. President, the former president in particular, is lamenting? I think he's not the only one lamenting. Responsible, sound-minded citizens have been lamenting over such circumstances.
I think we also had a program here once on this issue.
For instance, hello?
I can hear you, comrade.
For instance, during the military era of Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, I can cite one project. That project was the construction of the NRC and SDP political party secretariat all over the 774 LGAs in Nigeria. Today, when you go around Nigeria, most of these projects are being abandoned. And these were monies, taxpayers' monies that were channeled to execute those projects. And not only that, when you get back to the Shagari era of the First Republic, there are government structures that are called Shagari Housing Estate, low-cost housing. When you move around Nigeria, these projects are all now dilapidated and abandoned. And when you go to the state government, particularly when you go to my state, you see projects that are being abandoned. And it is constitutional and it is natural that governance is a continuous process. We don't know, or I don't know why state governors and various successive government, even at the federal level, have developed that habit of abandoning projects being executed by their predecessors. This is so disturbing and this is so alarming. And I think the National Assembly, I think there should be a law to be put in place, you understand, to curtail this kind of behaviors. It's very saddening and disheartening.
Yeah. So very saddening, very disheartening. How much of this problem stems from political rivalry, and ego, where new administration refused to continue what others started?
That is just the problem. You have gotten it right. People, successors, feels if they complete the project of their predecessors, they are like a kind of promoting their predecessors, whereas the case is not like that.
Especially when predecessors are not from the same party.
These funds are accrued from taxpayers' money for crying out loud. These projects are developmental projects aimed at improving the life the citizens, then why should bribery for crying out be brought into this? It is absolutely inconsequential. It is absolutely a misplaced priority for somebody to be thinking that if I complete this project, the marks or the points or the credit will go to my predecessor. That is not so. So it is a behavior that should be discouraged, seriously discouraged among public office holders to be abandoning projects executed by state firm. It is not palatable at all, and it is not encouraging in this developmental cycle of our country and of our various states in the federation.
Comrade, in your view, should there be a constitutional or legal framework that kind of like mandate continuity of a viable project, regardless of who initiated them?
I think that is the only measure that can stop this kind of ill-fated activities that is bedeviling our country and that bedeviling our governance system in Nigeria. I think it is high time for the National Assembly to sponsor a bill that will a kind of mandate whosoever that is taking place from his predecessor, be it a governor, be it a chairman of a local government, be it a president, these things happen even in the ministries. For crying out loud, ministers abandon projects that were initiated and started to be executed by their predecessors. And it ended up wasting monies that were budgeted to improve the livelihood of the citizens. So if a legal framework is put in place to a kind of handle or checkmate this kind of issues or behaviors, I think it will go a long way to reduce wastages in our budgetary allocations with regards to infrastructural development as far as our various states in the federation is concerned and as far as the country is concerned. So we urge the National Assembly to look towards that direction in sponsoring a bill that will not handle this kind of issues.
So, what impact does this have on investor confidence and public trust, especially when billions of naira are lost to uncompleted projects?
Negative impact. Absolutely negative impact. It's a kind of degenerate. It doesn't promote, it doesn't encourage growth and development in our society. And this kind of things, you see, don't forget, some of these projects are projects that are government and public partners. You can imagine a situation whereby there is not a kind of partnership between the private sector and the government. Then, after a tenure of 4 years or 8 years, as the case may be, then such project or investment is being abandoned. The private investor in this circumstance has lost, and it will demoralize him, and at the same time demoralize other investors who will want to go into partnership with either the state government or the federal government in this respect. So it is high time, just like we have said, that there should be a legal framework to a kind of stop or mandate public office holder to continue with whatsoever project or infrastructure development that is in place.
Okay, before I let you go, Comrade Bitako, I just want to ask you this. How can Nigeria truly move forward? Because in anything we do, in anything we discuss, we try to prefer or look for solutions. So how can Nigeria truly move forward and sustain development beyond political cycles?
Yes, first of all, we have the narrative of a kind of lackadaisical attitude toward governance and towards maybe office holders and followers should be changed. It is high time for our leaders to be patriotic. It is high time for our leaders to be leaders, people of conscience. People of conscience. That is very important. As a leader, you should have conscience, you should be patriotic, you should know that today, for the fact that you are occupying this office does not mean you are the most qualified Nigeria, or it is a natural a kind of a weed for you to be there, but rather it is a call to service your people, service humanity, service your society, make impact equally into the society. So for people to a kind of occupy public office and now personalize all the activities inherent in the offices are not palatable. So these does not go well, does not a kind of severe of Nigeria as a country. So it is high time for us, for our leaders to be people with conscience. People should realize, should know that, look, I have been called to service my people, not to service myself, to bring impact and development into the society in which I am either appointed or elected into office.
Thank you so much, Comrade Bitako Abubakar Umar, the spokesperson of Renewed Arewa Initiative Development, also a public analyst, a politician, and of course, an educationist. Thank you so much for this insightful discussion. Abandoned projects are not just unfinished structures, they represent abandoned promises, wasted resources, and lost opportunities for millions of Nigerians. As former President Jonathan warned, unless governments begin to see governance as a relay race where each administration builds up the gains of the previous, Nigeria's development will remain structures. They represent abandoned promises, wasted resources, and lost opportunities for millions of Nigerians. As former President Jonathan warned, unless governments begin to see governance as a relay race